Hello everyone, welcome to my very first discography ranking of Kiss. Before we get started, remember, this is my personal opinion of what I think of each album, and I don't expect anyone to have the same exact album ranking as me. So in that case, make sure to leave your album rankings in the comments down below, or give me some of your favorite Kiss songs. Also, I'll be counting the Kiss solo albums as well, and I'll try to give summaries because there are 24 studio albums. With that being said, let's begin. Number 24, Carnival of Souls. This right here, this is awful. How do we go from Revenge to this? I don't understand. This is one of the worst albums I've ever listened to, and I can never get through the whole thing. The only song in this whole album that I absolutely love is Master and Slave. You know that one that's like down. Other than that one song, I don't like any other tracks on this album. Number 23, Music from the Elder. This album has its fans, I'm not one of them. If you like progressive rock, that's great, you'll love this. I don't though. The only track I like is I, and that's not enough to save this album for me. And you wonder why Ace left the band after this. Number 22, Peter Criss. I feel like the Peter Criss solo album is a mixed bag of feelings for some people. Personally, I think the album isn't very memorable. In fact, the only songs I remember off this album are You Matter to Me, Tossin' and Turnin', and that's the kind of sugar Papa likes. What does that even mean? I'd probably pick You Matter to Me as my favorite, because I think the chorus is highly contagious and catchy. The rest, I don't even remember how the songs go. I feel like that's a problem I have with most of the solo albums. They have a few rockin' tunes, and then you just forget the rest of them. I don't know, that might be a me thing. Let me know if you think they're forgettable. Number 21, Animalize. I know some Kiss fans absolutely love this album and can't get enough of it. I only like 3 songs. Those being I've Had Enough Into the Fire, Heaven's on Fire, and Murder in High Hills, with Heaven's on Fire being my favorite off the album. And like the Peter Criss solo album, the rest of the album all blends in together if you ask me. Although one thing I do appreciate is the album has some Gene songs that's not entirely Paul. I like that. Number 20, Gene Simmons. Unlike the Peter Criss solo album, I think Gene Simmons' solo album is memorable once you start listening to it and get those songs in your head. My favorite songs off the album are Radioactive, Ton of Love, True Confessions, Mr. Make Believe, and See You in Your Dreams, with True Confessions being my favorite track off the whole album. Not gonna lie, I get some Elvis vibes from this album. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Number 19, Crazy Nights. Crazy Nights is a very odd decision for a Kiss album. Like, it's essentially a glam rock album with some keyboards and guitars, and I don't know, doesn't really sound very Kiss. Seems more like Kiss was trying to fit in with what was popular at the time. There are 4 songs on this album though that I really like. Those being I'll Fight Hell to Hold You, Reason to Live, Good Girl Gone Bad, and Thief in the Night. Although Thief in the Night is literally the glam rock equivalent of Rock and Roll Hell off Creatures of the Night. Like, seriously, listen to these back to back. Gene did the songs almost identically the same. Still my favorite off the album though. It's just, they sound very similar. Other than those 4 songs, I would much rather listen to any other Kiss album than this one, not counting the ones previously mentioned. Number 18, Ace Frehley. When I first started listening to the Kiss solo albums, I heard everyone say that Ace's was their favorite. And after listening to it, it's alright. Kinda overrated. To be honest, the only song I loved off this album is Ace's cover of New York Groove. Like, this is radical! It sounds like it would fit perfectly in Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh yeah, they took it out. Well, they still have a chance in Guardians Volume 3. Sorry, I'm getting really distracted here. Anyway, my favorites off the album are Snowblind, Ozone, What's on Your Mind, and of course New York Groove, which is my favorite. Number 17, Unmasked. This album does not deserve the amount of hate it gets. Like, Shandy has slowly become one of my favorite Kiss songs. Sure, it doesn't sound very Kissish. That's a word I just made up. But I love how the band was open for trying something new. Although that doesn't really go well when you're a Kiss album. Isn't that right, Carnival of Souls? Anyway, this album takes a lot from the Dynasty album. And that album is amazing, we'll get to that later. But for right now, my favorite songs off this album are Is That You, Shandy, Talk to Me, What Makes the World Go Round, Tomorrow, and Two Sides of the Coin, with my favorite song being Shandy. Try giving Unmasked another listen. It's not the worst album in the world. It's not the best though. Number 16, Dressed to Kill. Alright, some veteran Kiss fans are gonna try to fight me for this, but I don't like this album. If you like Dressed to Kill, that's great. I'm glad you love it. I don't. If you like Dressed to Kill, that's great. I'm proud of you. Wait, doesn't make any sense. If you like Dressed to Kill, that's great. I'm glad. If you like Dressed to Kill, that's wonderful. That's great. I'm glad you can enjoy it. I don't. Although it's not really my favorite, it does have one of my all-time favorite Kiss songs on it, and that being Love Her All I Can. That guitar riff, that's a good guitar riff. Like, just listen to that thing. That's amazing. But other than Love Her All I Can, my other favorites are Room Service, Tomb Timer, and Rock and Roll All Night. Again, if you love this album, that's great. I don't. I think it's overrated and overplayed. Number 15, Monster. To me, Monster sounds like Sonic Boom version 2. The songs are pretty good, but they all sound the same to me and a little bit generic, and they're not really memorable. I know some people might disagree with me on that though. My favorites off the album are Heller Hallelujah, Wall of Sound, Freak, Back to the Stone Age, Eat Your Heart Out, The Devil Is Me, Take Me Down Below, and Last Chance, with Back to the Stone Age being my favorite song. Again, pretty cool songs, just not very remarkable or extraordinary. Number 14, Sonic Boom. Okay, some people might be questioning why Sonic Boom is ranked this low or high or whatever you want to call it, but this was the album that actually introduced me to Kiss as a kid. So one night, my dad was driving home with baby Gabe in the car. He decided to put on some Kiss for me, and he played Calling Dr. Love and I Was Made for Loving You. Baby Gabe's little mind was blown away with what he was hearing, and one day he started singing Calling Dr. Love around the house. His grandmother was like, "Nope." And yeah, I wasn't allowed to listen to Kiss after that, so yeah. So I kind of have a soft spot for this album. It's more like a nostalgia album for me. And I could definitely say I prefer the original versions of the old Kiss songs, but I still think the remakes are awesome too, and they just hit differently, you know, they have their own vibe. My favorites off the album, not counting the remakes, are Modern Day Delilah, Russian Roulette, Yes I Know, Nobody's Perfect, Stand, All for the Glory, Dangerous, I'm an Animal, When Lightning Strikes, and Say Yeah, with Modern Day Delilah being my favorite song. I know the album might not be everyone's favorite, and I've seen a lot of people rank this as their least favorite, but this album means a lot to me personally. Also, don't cuss out my grandmother. She doesn't care if I listen to Kiss or not anymore. Number 13, Kiss, the self-titled. I know most people will say the Kiss Alive versions of all these songs are the definitive ones, but I don't know. I just really like that raw studio sound these early 70s albums have. My favorites are undoubtedly Shudder, Nothing to Lose, Firehouse, Cold Gin, Let Me Know, Kissin' Time, and Deuce, with Nothing to Lose being my favorite song. I know it's going to be controversial, but I'm not a big fan of Black Diamond. I think I've just been banned from ever walking outside again. Number 12, Psycho Circus. If there's one thing you should know about me is that I'm a huge fan of the Psycho Circus album, and that title track, phenomenal. 10 out of 10. Would blast every day. Not really, well, depends on the day. This is such an underrated album if you ask me, and I don't understand why. I guess it just really comes down to personal preference. But for me, my favorites off the album are the title track, Into the Void, We Are One, Raise Your Glasses, which is an amazing Kiss song, check it out, I Finally Found My Way, Dreamin', and Journey of 1,000 Years. And my favorite song off the album would probably be a tie between Raise Your Glasses and the title track. I know I've probably made a lot of 70s Kiss fans mad, but I like Psycho Circus more than Dressed to Kill. That's just being me. I'm not gonna fake it. Number 11, Hotter Than Hell. First off, I love the raw sound this album has, and I know many people prefer the live versions to most of those songs, but I don't know, studio versions just hit differently. My favorites off the album are Got to Choose, Parasite, Going Blind, the title track, Let Me Go Rock and Roll, All the Way, Watching You, and Mainline, with Parasite being my favorite song off the album. Honestly, I feel like this album doesn't really get talked about as much as the other ones. Not sure why, but it's one of my favorites. Number 10, Lick It Up. By now, you've probably realized we haven't been talking about 80s Kiss that much. And that's because I'm a huge 80s Kiss fan. There's just something about their musical sound after Music from the Elder that I just really resonate with. I know for other Kiss fans, they feel that way with the 70s albums, but for me personally, it's the 80s albums, especially Creatures of the Night, which we will get there, but for now, let's talk about this album. My favorite tracks off this album are all of them, surprisingly, with All Hell's Breaking Loose being my favorite off the album. I just love how the guitar is always like, down, 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 throughout the whole song. Love the solos and riffs on this album, though. They're definitely some of the best, in my opinion. Number 9, Destroyer. If you listened to Kiss as a kid in the 70s, there's a high chance that this is your favorite Kiss album of all time. I can definitely see where you're coming from, but I just prefer other Kiss albums than this one. My personal favorites off the album are Detroit Rock City, King of the Nighttime World, God of Thunder, although I never really like the sound effects in the background, Flamin' Youth, Shout It Out Loud, Beth, and of course, Do You Love Me? Even though it's basically just, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? I'm just joking around. I love that song. Number 8, Paul Stanley. First off, 1, if this was an actual Kiss album that had no Gene songs on it at all, I wouldn't be complaining because I love how hard this album slaps. I love this solo album. My favorite song off this album, one of my all-time favorite songs in general, being Wouldn't You Like to Know Me? If you've never heard that song before, just do yourself a favor, pause the video and go look it up. Seriously, it won't take that long. It's a really good song. Trust me, you'll like it. But besides that song, though, my other favorites are Tonight You Belong to Me, which is literally the equivalent of the 1978 version of Third Glass by Stone Sour, but that's a totally different discussion. Take Me Away, Together as One, It's Alright, Hold Me, Touch Me, Think of Me When We're Apart, Love in Chains, and Goodbye. Go check this album out. It's an awesome listen. Number 7, Revenge. Dedicated to the late talented drummer Eric Carr, who unfortunately passed away during the recording of this album, Revenge is easily my favorite 90s Kiss album. My favorites off the album are Tough Love, God Gave Rock and Roll to You, which I actually didn't realize was turned into a full Christian song by this band called Petrus. That's pretty cool. Heart of Chrome, Thou Shalt Not, Every Time I Look at You, Paralyzed, I Just Want to Be my favorite on the album. That's like the worst song you could ever send your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend. Like seriously, that would just like, that would hurt them really deeply, I'm sure. Of course, I also like Car Jam 1981. That's a really cool song that Eric Carr did. Love it. Number 6, Love Gun. First off, that title track off this album is one of my all-time favorite Kiss songs. Other than Love Gun, my other favorites off the album are I Stole Your Love, Christine 16, Tomorrow and Tonight, Hooligan, and Almost Human. This may sound weird to some people, but I actually prefer the demo version of Plaster Caster than the one they put on the album. I don't know if that's just me, let me know. But yeah, I like the demo version more. Number 5, Rock and Roll Over. Okay, so I might be an 80s Kiss fanboy, but there's no denying Rock and Roll Over is a radical album. There's not one track on this whole album I dislike. They're all mind-blowing tracks. I just can't get enough of them. My favorite off this album has always been Calling Dr. Love, and Baby Gabe seemed to think so. You're singing around the house. One of my favorite things about this album is that it doesn't overstay its welcome. And in fact, the whole album can be played in under 35 minutes. Trust me though, if you play this album, you'll leave Calling Dr. Love on loop for at least 20 minutes, unless you've overplayed it. Yeah, I might have an addiction to that song. Number 4, Dynasty. I will never understand the hate this album gets. Does it have some pop and disco elements? Yes. Is that bad? No. It has its own identity, which probably isn't the best thing in the world when you're a Kiss album of all things. I mean, look at Carnival of Souls. But anyway, my favorite track off this album is definitely I Was Made for Loving You. I just love the I'm not gonna sing it. One thing I like about Dynasty though is they let everyone sing on the album that was in the band at the time. And that's really cool. I like bands that do that. Number 3, Asylum. Asylum is so underrated if you ask me. For me personally, it has some of my favorite songs, and they're surprisingly not all of them. But what makes this album for me is the song Who Wants to Be Lonely, which is just a mind-blowing song. Love that song. Can't get enough of it. Other favorite songs of the album are King of the Mountain, I'm Alive, Tears Are Falling, Secretly Cruel, Radar for Love, and All Night. Love Eric's drum song on the album though. That's amazing. Number 2, Hot in the Shade. Say what you want about Hot in the Shade, but I think it's a phenomenal Kiss album. If I'm being honest, I never thought the album had filler. I thought it all flowed really well. But can we just talk about this amazing song with this album called Hide Your Heart? This is one of my all-time favorite songs in the world. The whole song is just non-stop excitement and energy, and mark my words, I will do a cover version of this song someday. Trust me, I will someday. Maybe in the future, who knows. But anyway, enough self-promotion. Other than Hide Your Heart, my other favorites are Rise to It, Betrayed, Forever, Silver Spoon, Cadillac Dreams, King of Hearts, The Street Giveth and the Street Taketh Away, You Love Me to Hate You, Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell, Little Caesar, and Boomerang. Now, if Hide Your Heart was on this next album, it would easily be my favorite album of all time, but it's not. However, this is my all-time favorite Kiss album. Number 1, Creatures of the Night. It just doesn't get any better than this. Creatures of the Night is my destroyer. I just love how heavy this album is. I'm surprised Kiss didn't go for a hard rock and metal type vibe again. Actually, I'm not surprised because this album bombed, which is actually what made Kiss want to take off their makeup for more clout and attention to their music, because this didn't help them. Now, if you ask me, that's really sad because I absolutely can't get enough of these rockin' tunes. Sure, it's only 9 songs, but they all fit very well and flow very nice together. For people who like both Gene and Paul, this album is for you because you get a nice even mix of both and the best sounding drums I've ever heard in my life. Eric Carr's drumming makes this whole album up. If that drum sound wasn't there, yeah, I probably wouldn't like this album that much. But my favorite tracks off the album is a tie between Rock and Roll Hell and I Love It Loud and War Machine. It's such a shame heavy sounding Kiss didn't catch on because I would have loved to see another album like this. And that, my friends, is my Kiss album ranking. Let me know in the comments down below what your ranking is, or just give me some Kiss songs that you like. And there we go, that's my ranking. Let me know in the comments down below what I should do in the future, and until next time, take care and stay safe.